Well, hello everyone, and welcome to another Brilliant Metrics webinar. Today we are talking about marketing to the channel. I'm excited to present this because without a doubt, this is the single-handed strongest ROI tactic that we have in our toolbox when working with B2B clients is marketing to the actual channel that is selling their products and services. So before we dive in, a couple of housekeeping items. First of all, post your questions in the chat. I'm monitoring chat on the live stream as well as within the Zoom webinar. And so if you have questions, please post them as they occur to you. We'll either cover them live as we go, or we will cover them at the end. A copy of these slides will be sent, so don't worry about trying to grab screen captures. If you are on the live stream and you didn't register, there will be a QR code you can scan at the end to get a copy of the slides. A little bit about me. My name is Steve Robinson. I'm the founder and CEO here at Brilliant Metrics. I've got about 20 years of experience in marketing and technology. Occasionally public speak. I teach classes at UWM School of Continuing Ed, and this is my happy place, is sitting here and sharing knowledge. So a little bit about Brilliant Metrics. We are a B2B digital marketing agency. What makes us different is the fact that we help our clients continuously level up. So that could be in capability, it could be in knowledge. We do a lot of teaching with our clients as well as out here on the public. It could be in technology. And obviously, we're helping them level up in revenue and impact. So if that seems like something that interests you, please do reach out. Happy to have a chat about how we might work with your organization. So today's agenda is pretty simple. We're going to talk about why this matters, why marketing the channel actually makes a ton of sense. A lot of people think it's preaching to the choir. These people are invested in selling my products and services. Why do I need to waste my marketing dollars marketing to them? The truth is, it's the highest ROI you can get, and we'll explain why. Talk through a couple of results that we've had over the years, and then we'll break into some best practices. So we're going to split those best practices into two chunks. First, focused on content. How do you make content that works well for the channel? And then second, on delivery. How do you get that content into the hands and eyes of your channel partners? So let's dive in. So what do I mean when we talk about channel? Well, channel is anybody really who is involved in the sale of your product or service, but isn't the end user of your product or service. So this could mean agents, meaning 100% commission salespeople or independent reps that sort of sit outside the organization, um, but are selling your products or services. This could mean distributors, the middlemen who move the products and services from you, the manufacturer or provider, down to the end users. It could be retailers or value-added resellers. If what you sell is sold to the public, then it could be e-commerce or brick and mortar retailers. Sometimes it's value-added resellers that'll take and bundle your product or service with theirs. Specifiers. A lot of organizations we work with have engineering firms or designers or architects that are specifying their products in an end assembly, building unit, something else down the road. Those folks aren't the buyers of your products, but they're going to be the ones picking whether your brand is at the top of the list for the specification or somebody else's. And then finally, referral sources. We don't usually think of referral sources as channel, but really they're in the same boat as the specifiers, or often as the person behind the counter that's sitting there recommending your product to a customer. And they're really marketed to in the same way. So any and all of these people are considered channel in our mind. They're not the end users of your product, but they are influencing the purchase of your product. So why does it make sense to market to the channel? Well, it comes down to leverage. If you can convince your channel to make your product or service the first one, that top product or service that is top of mind when they're making a recommendation, they're going to influence far more sales than you can influence going to those end users directly. They're in a position to know about that intent to purchase automatically because they're the one who are receiving the order or the request or the inquiry, not you necessarily. So they're going to be able to pounce with exactly the right messaging, provided they know exactly the right messaging. So when you influence your end buyer, you're influencing one sale. When you're influencing your channel, you're influencing many sales. So the leverage is just that much greater. And we've seen it. Our biggest success story, which I don't think we're going to top this anytime soon, was when we were working with a manufacturing client that was marketing their product to direct as well as through a number of distributors and wholesale channel partners. And what we did is we set up some targeted, very, very targeted advertising at the actual networks of these retail establishments. What we didn't know was that their networks were locked down, and the only computers that were actually on the networks were the computers like literally in the stores, the ones the designers were using to go and specify and design these projects for their customers. And so the only people seeing the ads were the people sitting there doing the design and making the product recommendations. We were able to spend less than $500, $466 in media, and quantitatively drove 216 or $218,000 in incremental new revenue. So you take away that $466, our client's revenue would drop by $218,000. I'll show you how we measured that so precisely a little bit later. The point is, marketing to the channel works. And while results like this are a little bit unexpected, results are very much so expected. And we've seen an uptick every single client that we've introduced channel marketing in full force on. So let's get into the content tips. The first tip from a content perspective is to pivot your language. We're very used to, when we write marketing copy, talking in terms of the features and benefits to the end user. When you're writing to the channel, if you really want them to feel like this content is for them, talk about how it impacts their customer or their client. So instead of saying, you're probably feeling pressure from the latest industry regulations, say, your customers are feeling the pressure from the latest industry regulations. It's a small flip in language, but it makes a big difference in engagement. And your channel partners know that this is messaging for them and not just for Joe Schmo end customer. Second tip, solutions focus. As marketers, we're taught best practices is to dig into the problem and then help our customers better understand that problem and then position our solution as the right solution to their problem. But when you're marketing to the channel, they need that messaging flipped. They really need, much like, in journalism, you have to make sure that you don't bury the lead and follow a pyramid principle. Start with the core message at the top. The same is very much so true in marketing to the channel. They don't care about digging into the specifics of the problem. They don't have the problem. They don't need to better understand the problem. They probably understand the problem. They need to better be able to position your solution. So, for example, I wrote on here, let's break down these new regulations and their impact on your business. Instead of saying something like that, cut to the chase. Here are 6 ways our product addresses the new regulations that are hitting your customers. Jump to the solution, jump to the meat, skip all the problem expansion type of content. Your channel doesn't care. Along similar lines, we found that shallow content performs a lot better when marketing the channel. Don't make people jump through hoops of clicking things. Give them the top line bullet points right there, because engagement on channel media is going to be significantly lower than you're going to find with engagement on end consumer media. That's okay. The key part is keeping your messaging in front of those channel partners. They don't have time to be clicking and engaging with your content. They don't have burning needs or problems or desires that they need to resolve that would cause them to click or engage with your content. So avoid making them dig. Put the features and benefits and the messaging that you need to get across right there front and center, right in the ad if you can. Don't ask for the click. Finally, if you can pull it off, your channel can be excellent co-creators with you. This does 2 things. First of all, when you co-create with your channel, you're able to get insights and content that you might not necessarily get because you're not as close to the customer. Your channel has a better understanding of exactly what pains and frustrations and challenges your customers are facing at this particular moment. And if you can get them on a quick podcast episode, if you want to launch a podcast, or if you can get them for an interview or two, video is great for this. Just pop up a Zoom and record it. and record a dialogue with your channel partners about what challenges their customers are facing, and then publish it. This content is gold because it speaks directly to the customer's pain points as they're understood by those that are talking to them every day. And this is the best part about it, your channel partner is probably going to promote that. Now, who is the channel partner going to promote it to? Probably to your end customers. So you're able to get that messaging out even further by co-creating with those channel partners. So that's about it on the content end of things. Let's talk about delivery. I'd imagine everybody listening here has some sort of an email newsletter that they're sending out. But I'm surprised at the number of brands that don't segment that newsletter and have a separate newsletter for all channel partners from the newsletter that might be going out to their end customers. In many cases, it's because they assume if you're signed up to the newsletter, you are a channel partner. But in some cases, it's just they haven't gotten around to it. You definitely want to split this up. Again, the types of content that the channel needs, which is going to be very bottom of the funnel, due state, features, benefits, reasons to believe and buy, that sort of content, you can just run a steady stream of that against the channel. But if you run a steady stream of that against the end user, they're going to unsubscribe because they don't want to just get sold to all day long in their newsletter. You can also treat these subscribers a little bit differently. So for many of our clients, depending on where they are in those channel partner relationships, unsubscribing is not an option because you're doing business with us. You're going to get our newsletter. And if we find you unsubscribe, we just resubscribe you because they're in a contractual arrangement to sell your products or services. There's no reason that they should be unsubscribing from your emails. You can even bake that into their agreements, right? You will receive our newsletter. Um, you're going to want to do everything you can to build this audience as well. So obviously, if it's an agent, an independent rep, or a commissioned salesperson, that 1099 commissioned salesperson, you know who they are, and getting them onto the list isn't a big deal. But sometimes when it gets down to the individual dealers or the specifiers, getting those folks onto the list is a little bit trickier. Every opportunity you have during the sales process to catch those individuals and get them into your email marketing program, you want to do so. Again, highest leverage channel you have. Paid media is a great option here too. We've had a lot of success with IP and geofencing. So when you do IP targeting, you're hitting the network of these channel partners. That means anybody browsing the internet on their computer network will get your ads. This is great for situations where it's either retail or you're going to have end users in and out of that office space as well as your channel partners, and you want to make sure that that content is very channel specific. IP is a great option. There's a couple of ways you can go. You can go address to IP, but what we prefer to do is to go and scrape those IP addresses, those network addresses out of the marketing automation platform. Again, if you've got these people subscribed to email, they're engaging with emails, it's really easy to pick up their IP address off of that. The other option is geofencing. This is where you can literally draw a square meter by square meter line around their offices. And you don't have to draw it. You upload the addresses. Other people have taken care of drawing the lines. And any mobile device that sits inside of that geofence will now get those ads. This is great for office environments. If you're looking at retail, you have to be a little bit more careful and make sure that your content is palatable both for the channel as well as the end user of your product. Another tactic we use a lot is CRM matching. If you have an emailed list, and even if those people aren't necessarily subscribed, a lot of those dealers, you can upload that CRM data into any number of platforms to go and match against devices or accounts to deliver advertising. Facebook and Instagram and display are our favorites. There are other platforms that you can do this on, but we found that just having ads follow people around the internet works really well, as well as Facebook it avoids some of that banner blindness because you're going to see everything in your feed as you scroll. it's generally worthwhile to take a look at the companies that you know are part of your channel, but you don't necessarily have contacts there, and do a data mining exercise to go identify the influencers at any of those channel partners. So go ahead and run a search on LinkedIn and find all of the salespeople, get that CRM data and load it into the database. You can do the same thing across a number of different databases, ZoomInfo, et cetera. And we offer a bespoke data mining solution where we will go and get not just their professional information, but we do a pretty good job at getting other information that's needed for this sort of CRM targeting, like mobile phones and uh, city and state for where they live, not just where they work, et cetera. That data mining effort can take time, resources, or money, but you're going to get a lot of return on that investment because this audience, again, is your highest leverage audience. Imagine if you were able to reach every single person working at a counter who could possibly be recommending your product to um, whatever B2B audience is walking through that door. Uh, you're gonna immediately see an impact. So let's talk about that impact. How do you measure those results? Well, what we have found is the most effective use or measurement for results is being able to uh, do what's called a demand lift study. So here we simply exclude certain markets. Most of your channel partners have some sort of geographic radius that they work within. Not all of them, but most of them. If you exclude the channel partners in a particular geo, from marketing and hold back 20% of your channel partners based on those geos, you can find comparable metro areas where you're still marketing to and see how demand has changed in those spaces. And that's exactly what we did to run the study that produced that $218,000 figure. We paired up a series of cities in the United States, held back marketing on certain cities, pushed marketing in other cities, and then saw over time how did the results change for the cities that we'd actually targeted with the media. And we were able to see year over year what the difference was in the targeted cities versus the untargeted cities and quantify down to the dollars and cents exactly what the impact of the channel marketing program was. With that, today is an extra short one. That's what I get for talking too fast. An extra short webinar, but I will leave this to any questions. We have a light group because it is the holidays today, but if you do have a question, please do post it in the chat. Okay. Well, with that, I want to thank everybody for joining for this extra short holiday edition of our the Brilliant Metrics webinar. And please do join us for the next one. If any questions do come up, please feel free to reach out to us directly. And I hope everybody has a wonderful, happy holidays, and we'll see you in 2024.